Ma'am, I think that most of the attendees have started joining in. I think most of will be like they might be joining in the meanwhile. So I think that we can start with the session. Am I audible to you, ma'am?
Yes, Ankit, you're audible to me.
Okay, ma'am. So I think we start with the session. So hello, folks. I think you might all be doing very great. And today we are back again to a 10th session of 24 in 24 series, initiative by Whiteboard Education and Research Foundation and Deltron Technologies. And I, your host Ankit Upadhyay, welcome you all on board with us. And I would like to thank you all that who have joined in and those who are joining in this our session. So again, like we are back in our initiative to bridging the gap between the student and the corporate, and to be the part of our journey. Today we have a very special guest, and may I tell you that she is I am Ahmedabad alumni, having the working experience of more than 15 years working in the different sectors. She has also worked in the companies like TCS, Accenture, along with the healthcare chain in the Europe, and she holds the designation like associate directors to the directors of the firm. Apart from that, ma'am is also serving to the board of governors as well as the advisory council head, as well as the head and mentor of the incubation cells of more than 30 colleges, universities, and educational institute of the country. And currently, ma'am is serving as a director in PwC. So, not much waste of your time. I would like to invite Dr. Aprajita Prasad, ma'am, to on board with us. I welcome you, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Ankit, and the entire team of Whiteboard and Deltron for inviting me and especially for working towards bridging this gap. Trust me, this is a great initiative that you guys are doing, and I love the name 24 in 2024. That's a wonderful thought. That's a wonderful tagline. So, first of all, kudos for that. And to all the lovely students out there, I could see a lot of you already joined in, and I'm sure some of you would be joining in a couple of more minutes. In case you want to make it a little more human centric, I would request you all to switch on the camera so that I could see that I'm not talking to a bot. That would help me stay motivated. Uh, the plan for the next 1 hour is more so like, I would talk about few things, my journey, how your journey could be, tailored, made for the days and years to come. And then we would take up the questions. So feel free to have all your queries, questions, guidances that you seek from me, and I would love to answer them all. So anyone, please switch on the cameras if you can. It would motivate me. So perfect. Ankit gave you a background about me. I'll take a step back and reintroduce myself so that many of you would uh, uh, understand me more, relate to me more, recognize some bit of you in me as well. So that tomorrow, down the years, 20 years down the line, when you are talking to students, you could feel that, hey, this is a journey we all traverse through. So 20 years back, let's move back 20 years when I was on the opposite side. I was a student like you. I come up from a tier 2 city, which is Patna in Bihar. And I did my, I come from an era. I did my schooling and I did my standard 12th in 1999, an era which is almost, oh, exactly 25 years ago. So, that was an era where things were dynamically changing. India was changing. A lot of opportunities started creating. Still, it wasn't as open as things or job scenarios or entrepreneurship or the plethora of job opportunities that you all have. And I come from a typical middle class family. I was privileged that both my parents were working. My mom was a professor, so professors के बच्चे होना बहुत difficult task है. आप कुछ भी कर लो, they are never happy. Uh, so you are always pushed to the edge to do more and more. But having said that, being a second generation working woman, I think that that gave a lot in me uh, to, whatever bit of confidence or positivity you see in me, that comes from my parents, my working parents, or more so my working mom or professor mom parted to me as a woman. So I owe a lot to her, though I fight with her as well. That's part of the game. We all do that. But to me, from day one, that was the aspiration. You know, whatever I have studied, and this is more so for my beautiful young ladies, beautiful young female leaders, that hey, whatever you're bringing to the table, whatever education you're getting, whatever exposure you're getting, it is for you. It is for you to shape up the world. It's a very dynamically changing world. Yes, I could see some messages. See, that is where I wanted to talk a lot more about myself, so that you can relate to me. You can see that it's not my journey; it could be your journey as well. Perfect, perfect. Yes, Prashant. I am reading all these messages, and we'll talk about it all towards the end. Lovely. Keep pouring them. It makes me feel good. It makes me feel that it's interactive and you are listening to me, and I'm not talking to an empty wall. Super. That's the ecosystem, and whether I like it or not, late in the 1999 when I passed out from my schooling, uh, it was an era which was very difficult for Bihar. I'm not sure how many of you would actually understand that 25 years ago the education system was difficult, the crime was at high, and things like that. And today Bihar and Patna is going on voting. My parents are voting today. But that's a time when my mom or my parents, from the educational background, they were clear that hey, sessions are going delayed. Graduation of a 3 year was going for 5 years, right? Because exams nahi ho rahe the and stuff. And I was always interested in modern cutting edge technology. Like many of you are technology students. So I wanted to do something in biotechnology. उस समय एकदम अपकमिंग एरा था, डॉट कॉम बूम के ठीक बाद बायोटेक बूम जो आया था उसके ठीक पहले. One of my role models was Kiran Majumdar Shaw, the CMD for Biocon, and she inspired me a lot. And I was like, hey, I want to do something in the life sciences or biotech field. Back then, biotech wasn't something which was very easily taught in the northern part of India. That's where from Bihar I moved to Bangalore. And that's where from Bangalore University, I did my graduation and post-graduation in biotechnology. Long story short, after doing a pure science, cutting edge, बहुत अच्छी पढ़ाई की and all those things, I took up a job in Accenture. Accenture was my first job. Accenture may, staying in 5 years in Bangalore and then joining Accenture was like a dream come true. I'll again say how lucky you guys are. You are having these exposures. You are talking to industry experts. You are being pushed, nurtured, and groomed to get to the industry. My experience was like, I gave my MSc Biotech exam, and I was just looking out for job. Placement cell tha, but the kind of jobs we were getting weren't, I'm sorry to say, great or good enough. So I went for a walk-in interview at Accenture, and it was around 1,300 people applied for that role, and only 22 were selected. Trust me, and they were even my seniors from colleges. I also saw some of my lecturers applying there, and 1,300 applicants to 22 selections, 7 rounds, 4 or 5 rounds of written and 2-3 rounds of interviews, full day grilling. I was like, God, I just want it to be over. That's what my task was. But happily, I got that job. But there comes a catch. The role was based in Chennai. I had to move from Bangalore to Chennai. I did that. I grabbed whatever opportunity I was getting. It was one of the great brands to start my life and career with. And Chennai, TK, I went to Chennai. First 1 month was training. And training, trust me, because people are busy in their normal time. So training used to start early in the morning. I think 6:30 से shift शुरू होती थी. and we had to reach there by 6 in the morning so that we were not delayed and things like that. Hamara trainer was like a zalim insan, jo bhi late aata tha uski lag jati thi and things like that. So I think 4:30 is when 4:30 or 5 is when my cab used to come. आधी रात में उठती थी और ऑफिस जाती थी ट्रेडर के पास. स्टूडेंट लाइफ में व्हेन यू आर अ नाइट आउल, देर तक जगते हो और उसका टोटल स्विच की अर्ली उठना है. ट्रेनिंग में कभी नींद आ रही होती थी, कभी कुछ, बट ट्रस्ट मी इट वाज फन. But when I was placed on projects after a month, my project was in an I would say afternoon shift or aligned to the US times. Again a change, and I'm talking about all these so that you understand, and then I'll talk about how you should groom your journey. And that's when my shift used to start, I think 2:30 or something till 11:30 in the night, and I used to be back home by 12:30 or something in Chennai, living all alone. My parents being in Patna. My mom used to say, and the first job, first salary is very small. My mom used to say, तुम चेन्नई में जाकर ऐसी आधी रात में काम कर रही हो, ऐसा कौन सा काम कर रही हो, इसे छोड़ दो, वापस आ जाओ. We'll give you, equal amount of pocket money. But trust me, that is the only and only time I did not hear to my parents. And trust me, that's where I'm sharing this. That's the time I did not hear to them. And today, all the while, my parents tell me that they are very proud of me. So our education, our value set, we should have that confidence and courage in us that, hey, we need to make a start somewhere. First job may not be the ultra glamorous one or ultra high paying. And why am I telling you this is because आजकल I'm seeing a lot of youngsters, they want a lot of money. Initially पैसे नहीं आएंगे, पहले काम सीखना होता है. पहले you need to start somewhere. And trust me, in all these 15, 18, 20 years of my working professional, I have been in the industry for above 18 years now, and I have seen, trust me, heaps of money. Money is never a deterrent if you are working good, if you are dedicated to your job, if you are committed to your job. I just tell it, your work life is the only thing, when you love it, it loves you back. I'm not denying that, if you love your spouse, boyfriend, girlfriend, they would not love you back. There are chances they would love you back, they may not love you back, but your job or your career is the only thing. If you invest in it, if you love it, it loves you back. And that's my personal experience that I'm talking about. So be committed to your job, be committed to what's coming, pick it up, give it your commitment, start learning. And trust me, my first break was, when I joined the job, I was offered a salary, very mere salary. I think it was around 1.8 lakh per annum. That's 20 years ago, a very minimal salary. 10,000 or something used to come in hand for the first month. Just after 3 months, I think we were certified in a, and we after the certification, it just bounced, and I didn't know कि ये 3 महीने में होने वाला है. And then we moved to 2.7 lakhs per annum within 3 months, within quickly. So that's how, if you learn, if you progress, 20 years down the line, 30,000 per month wasn't a bad salary. It's another matter that now today, even when I earn in huge numbers, I still look back, and the joy which I got from my first salary credit was much beyond what I'm getting today. So, my take here is, don't look after money at the first. Don't go after the monetary part of it. Go, you all would have heard, pehle kabil bano. And that's the point when we talk about campus to corporate. All this story was a building up so that you could relate to me. It's the moment you start building from campus to corporate, that's a journey, that's the real life a stepping stone that you need to put into. Challenges kahan aate hain? There's a, and I'm sure, Whiteboard, Deltron, why are they doing these? Because they understood the academic and the industry, there is a gap. And we all understand that. Aap jo bhi padh ke aa rahe ho, whether it is from the technology side, engineering side, or I'm sure a lot of you are from management. For management folks, I'll come back to another part of my story and you would relate much there. But hold on to that. So now, whatever you learn from a technology, from a engineering or management, whatever it is. And when you go to the industry, when you start working, it's an altogether different journey. I did my master's in biotech. I was a great person. I had good knowledge of biotechnology and all those things. When I joined my first job at Accenture, we were working for a client, which was Pfizer. You know, Wyeth at that time. Wyeth was taken over by Pfizer. And we were doing a lot of clinical research or data validation, pharmacovigilance, and things like that. That was very different than what I knew. And all those work, data, and things were a lot more into statistical modeling. We used to do a lot of Excel spreadsheet formulas. और मुझे कॉलेज तक वर्ड डॉक्यूमेंट आते थे या प्रेजेंटेशन के लिए पीपीटीज आते थे. एक्सेल पे कभी काम ही नहीं किया था. आज आप लोग को लग रहा होगा, but 20 years down the line, the way we were taught was very different. And मुझे, and my trainer, like I said, was a Jalim trainer. Uh, yes, Rohini, I'm listening to your messages. I know we'll cover that point also. Yeah, loans. I would cover that. But trust me, you know, money is important, but to begin is also very important. If you begin at nothing, how would you know, your graph would go up. So, anyways, coming back to the Excel sheet. So now I knew Word document, I knew PPTs, but I didn't know Excel. I didn't know how to put formulas, how to put macros, how to work on statistical modeling. Trust me, और मेरा trainer जो था वो, and we used to work on mouse then, you know, laptop पे. वो आके पहला काम करता था, हमारे mouses हटा देता था. He was like, you know, learn how to use the shortcuts or the keyboards. And मुझे actually dreams आते थे. I had those nightmares of Excel sheet and spreadsheets and formulas. मैं इतनी terrified थी. But trust me, that's where I learned it on the job. That's where I owe a lot to my trainer. I owe a lot to my seniors and peers and people whom I used to shadow to learn work. That, hey, I learned it. I learned it, and I also learned the art of how to learn things. And today, I think I don't even have a mouse with me in my life now. I always use the keyboard shortcut buttons. For you guys, you may wonder what am I talking about, but उस समय वो mouse से ही काम करते थे हम लोग. So yes, learning is important. Learning is very important. How you learn and then you excel in your job. ऐसा नहीं होता कि, you know, एक बार आप नौकरी में घुस गए and that's it. Upskilling is very well required. And in my 20 years, I have seen in the industry is very quickly changing. When I say industry is quickly changing, you need to keep investing in your upskilling as well. New, you know, there was a time when coding was the in thing, you know, .com boom aaya, then biotech boom aaya, right? So every day things are changing. Now it's a digitalization world. Now a lot of AI is coming. So a lot of time, even my teams, they used to do a lot of business research. But now with, chat GPT or open AI coming into play, I need to train my people how to work with them, because tomorrow these jobs will become redundant and something new would come up. So until unless you keep upskilling yourself, you would become non-relevant in the market, right? So the journey of campus to corporate is not the end. Even in corporates, from one role to move up the ladder, you need to keep learning. That's very important, and that's where a lot of these companies, established firms, have very strong learning and development L&D team and L&D budgets. I cannot ask my team member to work on a new technology before I can teach them, right? उन्हें आता ही नहीं तो वो कैसे करेंगे, right? So that's very important, and that's also important that you guys learn how things are working in the industry. Stay updated with industry. Up, say for example, whichever industry or department you're aligned to, know what's happening. Read the news. You know, थोड़ा Insta पे time come devote करके start reading the industry trends. Follow what's happening in your dream companies. What is the traction that's happening? Because tomorrow, when you're sitting for your placement interviews, you know, the hiring people or hiring manager, they have been doing it for a long time. They can just gauze through from your conversation, from your talks, whether you know the industry or not. If you could give a one or two relevant example of what's happening in the industry, at least I'll be super impressed. Hey, इसे कुछ तो पता है. Because I'm sure your institute is giving you a lot of all those theoretical knowledge and you're great with it. I know that. But what is your differentiator? What is your USP? You all are a brand in yourself, right? So in sare brand mein, why you? What is that USP or unique selling proposition of you as a brand? So how you want to shine out? That's where you need to shine out from the way you present yourself, from the way you have done extra things. Extra things could be, say, for example, I'm looking for somebody who's a great team player, right? And it's always about a mix of people. Say, for example, if I reject somebody in an interview, it's not a rejection for you as a person. It's like a product market fit or a key and a lock model, right? Whether you are suited for that job or not, or that job is suited for you or not, right? So that's where it's about the best fitment thing that's matching. And say, for example, I'm looking for somebody who's a great team player. How would I know in a couple of minutes? If you have done something where you have led a team, or you were active in some extracurricular, or you organized something in college fest or some sports activity, all these small steps are also an example of your leadership or how you work together, right? That's an innate ability. How you communicate your things, how well aware you are about the industry know-how. I'll give you an example. In one of my interviews, where I was being interviewed for one of the global head roles across the geographies, and we were aligned to the US, and we used to do some work with China as well. And India have a very neutral stand on this. And sitting in India, I need to manage both the two. So one of the my global boss, he asked me, one of the question was, how would you balance this relationship? We were talking about Indo-China relationship. That is what we just discussed over a cup of tea, and that was it. So it need not be about your hardcore skills. वो तो आपको आता ही होगा. It's about how well you handle the situation, how well you can lead, how well you're absorbed in the team. आपकी team spirit क्या है? It could be that you are genius at something, but I want somebody who can gel with the team. वो team को break down नहीं करे. मेरे लिए पूरी team important है. Right? So these are the small, subtle things that you need to know when you are migrating from your campus life to the corporate life. Showcase what extra you have done, what extra miles you have gone, what are the extra certification you have done, what are the projects you have worked, where you have done your internship, what's your top, hobbies क्यों लिखवाते हैं हम लोग CV में, so that we know what you do, what excites you, what keeps your work-life balance in place, right? So that's equally important. Now I'll come back to another part of my life, which again, the management students would resonate a little more. Now, after having worked in the industry, after my Accenture days in Chennai, then that's the time I moved. A lot of things keep happening in your personal life and things like that. We are growing, so I had to relocate from Chennai to Delhi NCR. I changed jobs. I joined TCS. But then we moved to Europe. So I moved to, I was setting up the eValue Serve office in the Romania entity, things like that, back in India. So quite a few of these journeys. And that's where I realized that from my clinical research work, I was slowly moving to the business research side, and I was doing the work of a management consultant. Now, almost 10 years, 10 years down the experience, I'm working as a management consultant without having a degree of an MBA. Now, there comes our bottleneck. मेरी पूरी team MBAs की है. Project is coming in my name, but I don't have an MBA. Bottleneck, challenge. What do I do? That's the time I decided to reinvest in myself, and I went back to the school and I did one-year MBA from IIM. Because at that point, I realized that, hey, if I don't take this call now, it's a bottleneck forever. I cannot grow further. And since I have worked for 10 years in the industry, I realized that, hey, and 1 year is good enough for me for the accelerated program to do. And I need to do it from the best of the places, because I need that stamping or the alumni or the power in my hand when I go and stand out or talk to the clients. So, what I'm saying about upskilling or investing in yourself, I did that in myself. And after that, I think sky was the limit. I started doing a lot of great work. People started taking me more seriously from the management perspective. Uh, More money started pouring in, and that's when, after some year, I started feeling that now, hey, I should start imparting my knowledge to others, whether they are entrepreneurs, startups, students, so that you could see, relate how life changes, how you need to keep working. Every day is not the same. I have seen 2008, when it was a recession year, our salaries were reduced instead of increments. So we have seen through those tough days. We have seen the days of COVID, when markets were really challenging and we had to adapt ourselves to remote working or hybrid working model. Wasn't easy at all. The clients were impacted. So, how quickly you learn to do things, agility, as we call it, is what keeps you going further. So, you know, as you keep moving in your journey, keep that in mind. The world is changing, and that's how it should be. Disruptors aate rahenge. But with each of these disruptors, now, if we talk about the COVID scenario, remote working, hybrid model, right? This acted as a huge disruptor for the evolution of digitalization. Everything went digital, and not just digital. As things go digital, there comes the risk of cyber risk, regulation, crime, and that's where that vertical again is booming, right? So that's how things evolve. That's how industry or market starts churning. So every aspect has things which would mold you. Now, after working with these, and I'll also now talk about one another important or very nice aspect. I have worked with both established players and startups. Now, why am I giving you these examples? So that you would be wise to choose what you're getting into. There's plus and minuses of both. Now, with established player, things and processes are set, right? uh, you can learn a lot, you can contribute, but since it's so process organized, uh, you need to follow processes, you need to follow a set system. You would be only and only, uh, I would say, responsible for the small or segment of work that you have been aligned to. On the other hand, when even I joined startups like Phronesis Partners, uh, and my team, even at the entry level or associate level, they were exposed to a lot of things, because startups mein kya hota hai na, there's less people and we are trying to grow. So the responsibilities is like whosoever can pick a lot more responsibilities. So while we are evolving, while we are setting up the processes, you are exposed to a lot more than just what you would have been at that level in an established player. You are exposed to clients, you are exposed or being part of creating the processes and evolving. Though that requires a lot of stretched or extended work hours, responsibilities, but learning is far higher, right? So you need to understand the difference between both of these. Plus minus dono hai. But depending on what you want to do, say for example, there are a lot of those new edge job profiles that's coming up. There, you can make a lot of differences in those new companies, startups, or those funded companies or the offset companies which are part of spin-off from the bigger firms, right? That's where you would learn and do a lot. Now, let's come back and talk a little bit about how you can yourself, or how you can place yourself for these placements, right? We know how things work, where to start, big companies, small companies, upskilling, right? We covered all these. Now let's see how present ourselves or prepare ourselves for this journey or the leap or the placement, which is again a very, very important aspect as a student, as a pre-final year or a final year student, uh, where a lot of things is happening. आपके कोर्स का प्रेशर है, सबमिशंस है, असाइनमेंट्स है, एग्जाम है, a lot of things is happening, right? At the same time, at the very same time, start building your resume. Take help of your placement cell. Take help of your seniors who have passed out, because they have just done that journey. Build connections. Build connections with them. They are the most apt people to help you out. And these days, not just from the alumni network or placement cell, you can reach out to your seniors from LinkedIn. It's a beautiful, beautiful source to connect with professionals. Have a very professional profile of yours on LinkedIn. Don't put anything non-relevant which on LinkedIn. Have a professional photo, have a well-balanced appearance of yours, what you like, what you don't like, everything is noticed, right? So be very mindful of how you're acting on these social media platforms. And when I talk about social media platforms, let me tell you guys, when you would go for your background verification check or BGV, uh, everything is scanned. What you have done in your social media profiles, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, or forums and blogs, the companies do track them. So make sure there is nothing nasty on your social media platform. Please, that's very, very, very important. Keep all your personal, political, and religious view off these medias, please. That's a very, very humble request to each one of you. Because I don't want somebody who would tomorrow come with a very strong view, or somebody who is into argumentative mode to work in my team. I don't want somebody. I don't want somebody with a tainted image. I don't want somebody who can pick up fights. You would say, hey, that's my personal space. But then, whether you like it or not, whether you accept the reality or not, the realities will not change. You need to mold yourself for the industry. So please keep your digital footprints very clean, much more cleaner than the carbon footprints. Trust me, guys, digital footprints, very, very important. Okay, so coming back to the placement scenario. So connect with your seniors, stay in touch with the placement cells, and start working on creating your step-by-step guidance on how to approach these companies. Very first, do a research. Do a research what you want to do. Just give me a second. This is somebody calling me continuously. Just give me a second. Sorry, guys. There was somebody continuously calling. I had to take that. So yes, we were talking about how to scan about the kind of roles that we want to do. So do a basic research. Research, when I say research, you need to understand what you want to do. What you want to do, which line, which segment you want to build your life and career. Do that research, whether you want to work on technology, whether you want to work on finance, marketing, HR, operations, supply chain, digital forums. What is it that you want to work? Decide on that. Which could be the best suited industry for you? Which could be the best suited function for you? Do that research. And not just कि ये अच्छा होता है. It has to be what you are good at and what you want to do. Remember, I'm sure a lot of you would be knowing the concept of ikigai. What is ikigai? So ikigai is what I am good at, right? What I want to do, what I am good at, what the world needs, and what could give me happiness. In charo segment ka jo overlap aayega, right? What I want to do, what I'm good at, what I can be paid at, and what the world needs. In charo parameters का जो overlapping segment आएगा, Venn diagram अगर इन 4 parameters का बनाओ, so that is what you need to focus on. Say for example, I say that hey, I want to be a cricketer and I'm not good at it. सिर्फ मेरे whims and fancies से तो नहीं होगा. Or say for example, I would say, with no demeaning to anyone, say for example, I want to say that hey, I want to sit and do gardening. Will I be paid for it enough? Paid as in how much I want to earn. Will I be paid for it? No. Right? So, or I would say I want to do something or write a certain kind of stories, or say for example, I want to make a gramophone. Now in this era, does the world need that? No. So who would buy it? Nobody. And end of the day, if I combine all these parameters together, that's what would help me get what I should be choosing. And that's where I was telling, do a lot of research. Be very honest to yourself. Talk to your peers, talk to your family, talk to your friends, talk to your teachers. They would be a real reflection of, and don't go by any one person. Gather those inputs and see where do they see you. Remember, pehle I used to feel, trust me, I used to feel myself as an introvert. Over the years, my family, my friends, my colleagues, everyone started telling me, no, you are good at public speaking. And that's what I later started picking up. So many times, what even we assume about ourselves may not be true. So seek inputs, and they would tell you what they perceive you being good at. And then don't go just by what they are saying. Marry it with what you want to do. That's where it would be beautiful amalgamation of these thoughts. And then see with those traits, what is it that you could be paid for? Right? And what the world needs. Because that aspect, what the world needs, is where your long-term satisfaction would come. And that's equally important. Initially, we run after money, we run after growth, we run after designation, but वो sustainable नहीं होगा. And you're not making a short-term decision. You're making a career choice, a career which would be with you for the next 50 years. The school or colleges or line that we study or the houses we live or the cars we buy are with us for a few years. But the career you would choose would be for you for the entire rest of your life. So think about it, make a wise choice, invest time onto it, right? So that's my first point. When you're thinking about that career choice or movement, many of you would have made it those choices, right? You are doing engineering, you are in some stream, technology, things like that. But remember, there are folks, one of my friends, I'll give you an example. She qualified UPSC exam. 2-3 साल काम की. अभी क्या कर रही है? She is making movies. So this movie अभी जो आई थी Merry Christmas. Just go and find out. Anubhuti Pandey. She's my batchmate. She qualified UPSC. So people do change things for their calling. Initially लगा उसे भी लगा सबने बोला hey you're good at it and things like that. So she picked it up. But later she realized no, that's not her calling. So invest time in thinking about it. And I'm giving you all real life examples so that you could relate to it. Right? So do that research. Then start building or aligning your resume in that manner so that all your traits focus towards that aspect. मैंने तो decide कर लिया, सोच लिया. अब मुझे अपने आप को project भी उसी तरह से करना. I have to package myself so that it reflects in those 2 pages of my resume or CV. Take help, again, take help here from your placement cell. Take help here from your seniors. They would help you define. और इसमें कुछ ego नहीं कि मैंने जो बताया उसने सब गलत बोल दिया. कोई बात नहीं. Tweak it as many times as required. Because उस 2 पेज में आपको अपने पूरी credentials and aspirations showcase करनी है. It's a very powerful document. So invest in it. उसको हर बार version को share it with people. Ask their feedback. इससे तुम्हें क्या लग रहा है? What are the things that's coming out. And not just with your grades and percentage and things like that. Add your extracurricular, add your internship, add your uh, hobbies, add what all you have done in your institute, add what all excites you, right? Put all those in it so that it becomes a holistic picture. Add about what internship you did, what all workshop you have attended. Say for example, you attended a program where you learned about campus to corporate, right? This talks about your interest. You are investing your time onto it. This talks about how serious you are about yourself. Correct. So all these things define you. So put all those aspects in your CV and resume. Now you know what you have done. Now you have built your CV. Ab next step kya hai? Next step is networking. Placement cell आपको help करेगा. But to boss or take that jump from campus to the corporate or the industry or the job profile, you also need to start networking. Because even industry में आकर आप क्या करोगे? You need to find the right roles. So when I say networking at your level, and I'll give you a beautiful phrase which we often use or quote in our work life, that's your net worth. Your network is your net worth. So your network or the people or the circle is your net worth. Because what happens is, even if you fall down, even if you lose a job, even if you mess up your life and career, if your folks, people, or network or social circle is with you, you can bounce back again and again. We need each other to hold us, right? So start building that network. How you would do that? Build connects with your alumni. Stay connected with like-minded people on LinkedIn. Reach out to seniors in those companies or profiles, what you aspire to do. Look into their journeys. Talk to them. Follow the industry leaders or the segments, how it's moving. Look into those profiles. And that's where start connecting to people to build their network. And people are very supportive, trust me. Join those groups, clubs, which are for similar like-minded people. And trust me, with this digital media thing, social networks, platforms, ab to bahut aasan ho gaya hai. Right? So do that, start networking. Now you have also built your network. आपने देखा LinkedIn पे कोई एक job है, आपको अच्छा लगा, you reach out to the hiring manager or the team and then tell them, hey, I could see there's a job opening in your company and I'm interested about it. Can you refer me there? चलो उसने refer भी कर दिया. अब क्या? Now comes your interviews, right? How to crack that? Now to crack that, the most important aspect is practice. Because a lot of us, and it's very natural, a lot of us gets nervous. You cannot say what you want to say. And those few minutes are the deciding moment. Remember movie में शब्द में कहता है ये अगले 90 मिनट तुमसे कोई नहीं छीन सकता, ये तुम्हारी लाइफ के तुम्हें बनाएंगे, right? So that is what an interview is. You cannot afford to goof up there. तो क्या कर सकते हैं? Practice करके आ सकते हैं. Practice makes a man perfect. I still do that. Trust me, I still do that. I stand in front of the mirror many a times and talk to myself. Many a times we talk to our friends and colleagues and tell them, hey, give me a mock interview. And trust me, in case you don't find anyone, come to me and schedule a time with me. I'll take a mock interview. Right? Because that's what would give you confidence. Kal ko wo aapko lagega, I'm practiced. Have a set of questions. Have a set of questions. Google the relevant questions from your industry, your segment, and your level, and have a set answers ready. Practice that. Because वो कम से कम word में you have to convey the most out of it. And at times, I'll still say, and even at times, उसके बाद भी if you are nervous or missing out on something, anxiety आ रहा है, hang on, take a sip of water. People do understand that at a fresher level, these things can happen. And you can just take a minute and say, hey, give me a minute to gather my thoughts. That's a very polite way of saying, Give me a minute to gather my thoughts. And people would give you that, right? So that you organize yourself, take a deep breath, sip a bit of water, organize your thoughts, and then come up. Don't goof it up. That's your chance. Don't goof it up. Uh, and like I was saying, when you start practicing, right? When you start practicing or preparing for these interviews, have a set of those questions, have a set of those answers, which is your tailor made, which is how you want to portray. और वो pool of questions के answers आपके पास अगर ready होंगे ना, so you can always play around from some bit from here and there and answer anything that's coming to your way. But to have that pool of answers with you, you need to be aligned to the job description or types you're talking, that is upskilling and industry trends, what's happening in the industry. If I'm talking about somebody from the supply chain and if he gives me 2 or 3 relevant examples that has happened in a week or 10 days, I would be super impressed. Or somebody who's talking about finance and technology gives me some disruptors in fintech which has been launched or which is doing good or which has messed it up, I would be like, hey, this person tracks the industry. So stay industry ready as well. और आपके पास वो 2-4 एग्जाम्पल रेडी होंगे, एग्जाम्स में, एसेज में भी, एटलीस्ट दिस इज व्हाट आई यूज्ड टू डू, 2-4 पंच लाइन मेरे रेडी होते थे, ये वाला तो मुझे इससे भी घुसाना ही है. So similarly for those interviews, have those statements ready with you, and it's about impressing the person, right? Now when you come for the interview, whether it is online, offline, whatever, stay very professional, dress professionally, be on time, greet people. When you don't know an answer, don't try to fool others. सामने वाला अगर इंटरव्यू ले रहा है तो उसको पता है कौन उसको उल्लू बना रहा है, कौन नहीं बना रहा है. So say very politely, hey, I don't think I know a lot about it. That's okay. Then trying to fool the other person. You can always say, hey, I'm a good learner, I'm a fast learner. I may not be knowing this as of now, but I'll quickly learn and come back on this. That gives you the positive side of you, that even when you don't know, you have that spirit to learn, right? But don't make those false assumptions or stories which is a big dent on your character or your personality. Then I would say, if you have done any internship, there would be a lot of focus or a talk that's happening on what you did in your internship. So prepare yourself well about all those projects that you have done, all the internship that you have done, any association with NGO or things like that you have done. There would definitely be some bit of discussion and talk that's happening there. Then I would say on the softer side of it, few pointers that you need to portray and that should come across in the way you interact is obviously confidence. Now, when we talk about confidence is a good thing to have, but never show overconfidence. I'll give you an example. I was on the jury of I am Lucknow incubator yesterday, and they were pitching for a lot of government grants. Ek pitching thi, they had decent concept and work and product ready, but they were very overconfident. उन्हें जो भी बोलो उन्हें तो पता ही है. So now if they know everything and we are taking them as an incubator at the incubator and giving them grants, कल को भी वो नहीं सुनेंगे. And tomorrow, even if the market or the customer is trying to tweak or ask them something, they may not listen it. So confidence is good, but you need to understand the fine line between confidence and overconfidence. Overconfidence leads to arrogance. We should always be open to hear feedback, even if you don't like that feedback or the statement. The other person is on the judging side, right? You can always say, hey, I take that feedback, I'll work onto it, I would improve onto it, right? उससे आप कोई छोटे नहीं हो जाओगे. कोई don't pick any personal fights कि नहीं तुमने ऐसा क्यों बोल दिया, मैं तो उसको convince करके ही रहूंगा. No. Okay, thanks for the feedback, I'll take it up. Khatam. That's how you are perceived. Many a times this is an important trait to test, because we want people. Corporates में it's not a perfect world. There are times जब आप सही भी हो फिर भी आपको सुनना पड़ता है. That's important. You have to learn these subtle skills. So be confident and positive. And that's where I was saying staying positive is, you can say, hey, I don't know this, but I'll learn it out. I'm a fast learner. I'm a good team player. That shows your positivity and commitment towards the goal. And last but not the least is, you also need to show, remember I use the word agility or adaptability. Why is that important? That's important because our industry is very fast changing. आज आपको एक role के लिए लिया, tomorrow that role may not be there, but then I'll put you in something else. You should be adaptable. You should be open to change. You should be open. Acha market is moving or the skills is moving. I would learn it up, right? You should remain open and agile or adaptable to take up those skills. That's when you would survive in the corporates. I don't want you to throw you to a place जहां आप पहुंच तो गए but survive नहीं कर पा रहे हो, right? So that's the journey. That's what you need to prepare yourself while you're trying to transit yourself from the campus to the corporate, right? So, and series like these where you are exposed to industry seniors and leaders, you hear from them and you imbibe, you get that concept, you get that environment, you get that entire 20 years journey story in 1 hour, right? So you pick out what's relevant for you and learn from it. That's your task. That's something nobody else can do for you. I can take the horse to the water, but end of the day, the horse has to drink it. That's what platforms like Whiteboard and Deltron are doing. They're bringing the industry leaders to you so that we impart our journeys, but end of the day, to learn from it is your task, right? So with those notes, I'll close my talking points and let me quickly read the questions in the chat. Let me answer those first, and then I'll pick up
Ma'am, if you allow me, can I take the question for you from
Perfect.
the
That's
chats?
amazing. Yes. Thank you
Well,
so much.
actually, I think Anupam sir has write the question. Anupam sir, but could
Okay.
you please provide the guidance to our rural student on how to access corporate opportunities and the most effective method to do so, considering their limited access to technology and connections? Yes, ma'am, this is the greatest problem that the people from a rural background is suffering. I also do agree. So,
Absolutely agree, Ankit. I can't agree more to it. That's the challenge, or that's where the divide or the gap is further more from people who are in the rural areas. So metros or urban or tier 1 tier 2 cities say corporate की journey, because you're little more exposed, वो थोड़ा सा gap है. Rural areas से that gap becomes little more wide. Now that's where sessions like these, which brings together the entire cohort or exposure, right? You need more exposure. So exposure के लिए क्या कर सकते हो? You can be part of these forums. You could expose yourself more. There's a just give me a second. Hey, I'm on a call. I'll give you a call back. So that's when you can expose yourself more. You can work onto yourself and uh, utilize these opportunities. Also, at the same time, listen to a lot more relevant people. Listen to their interviews, their journeys. Listen to YouTubes, because for the rural folks, a lot of time that communication also remains. I'm not trying to demean anyone, but the communication also becomes a big barrier when you move from campus to corporate from the rural perspective. So when we listed out all these things that you need to work, you also need to work on your communication skill. That's very important. So that's an area where such sessions, such association interactions are far more important for them.
so I think, ma'am, okay. So Nikhil Jaswal is asking, ma'am, what strategies can help me avoid burnout in a corporate job? I think he might be offer holder in corporate industry. So
So super. Sorry, I missed the name. Who's asking that?
his name is Nikhil Jaswal. Nikhil Jaswal.
Nikhil,
Yes.
beautiful question. Uh, Burnout आता है. I would not deny that. And that's where your work-life balance, that's where your hobbies, that's where your relationship with your family, friends, and colleagues, peers is very important. That's what would keep you grounded. That's what would replenish your energy. That's what would make your life more meaningful. Remember, I was talking about the 4 pointers: what you want to do, what you're good at, what you can be paid, and what the world needs, right? That satisfaction. Also, this is what I learned from my journey. It's like you need to have a hobby. That's when you distract your mind. That's very, very important. And as you slowly age, I call myself a mid-aged woman. Some sort of physical exercise, yoga, or jogging, it's very important. uh, Trust me, it gives you a lot more energy to bounce back. And when I talk of yoga, I'll give you example. Yoga mein, there's a concept: breathe in, hold, breathe out, hold. That hold phase is the key. That hold phase is where you get all the energy. So to avoid that burnout, work, if you keep running all throughout, up burnout to karoge na. And that's where your hobbies, that's where taking breaks, that's where investing quality time with your family and friends replenishes your mind. That's the key to avoid burnout, right?
Okay, I think I
अभी
got
निखिल
you. I
इंडस्ट्री
think,
में गए ही नहीं और आप बर्नआउट क्या सोच रहे हो? ट्रस्ट भी, बहुत मजा आएगा.
ma'am, I
15
think
18 घंटे जब
the
काम करना पड़ता है ना फॉर डेज, बहुत मजा आता है.
I think the
एंड
pool
ट्रस्ट मी,
of
डोंट
answers.
डोंट थिंक दैट वो 10 से 5 का जॉब मिलेगा. ट्रस्ट मी, दैट्स अ lie in private sector. Be ready for it. And in the initial phases, more so, because the more you are into the churn, the more suited and you would rise. Sorry, ये कोई आपको नहीं बोलेगा work life balance के साथ साथ, but that's the harsh reality. Be prepared.
I think most of them has already been prepared for their own pool of set of questions that you were saying. Okay, that's
Okay.
great. Shivam is asking, ma'am, what should I expect in the terms of corporate culture and office dynamics?
Well, a lot of times, corporate culture, when you say, it varies. It varies from company to company. And like I was mentioning, a a big companies or established company culture would vary from a startup culture. So whichever kind of segment, also it depends upon manufacturing or service line. It depends from financial services to consumer goods, right? Which industry, which segment, which kind of organization you are joining, the culture would vary, and you need to adapt to it. If you say that नहीं, यहाँ पर ऐसा होता था, यहाँ ऐसा नहीं. Say for example, Google is a very casual kind of a culture. People go in shorts. But if you join a financial services company, you would still go in very formals with a blazer and a tie, right? So it varies from company to company. But most of the time, during your onboarding and the initial few weeks and months, you understand the culture and tailor made yourself with that culture, and be a part of it. So say for example, today, what is a company? Now let's understand. Company is nothing other than you and I. So if I say I belong to PwC, what is PwC? PwC is nothing but me and my colleagues. So we all later become a part of that culture, how we shape it, right? So depending upon the company, organization, industry, vertical you are joining in, adapt to that company culture, be a part of it, and always culture ke saath chalo. If it's a culture where people party on a Friday evening, do that. If it's a culture where people are pushed to take leaves, do that. If it's a culture where you cannot take leaves without approvals and months in advance, don't try to break that law, because tomorrow you would be seen as, hey, ye to hamare system ka hi nahi, right? There is a culture. I'll give you an example with this leaves things. In one of my jobs, I was new in that company and culture. I think I joined in April या May, and this was in July. So जुलाई में मुझे लीव पे जाना था, तो मैंने पहले ही अपनी टिकट्स करा लिए फ्राइडे इवनिंग के. एंड फ्राइडे इवनिंग का मतलब 8-9 बजे की मेरी ट्रेन या फ्लाइट जो भी थी. एंड आई वाज लाइक, ठीक है, मैं 6 बजे ऑफिस से निकलूंगी, पहुंच जाऊंगी. आई डिड नॉट नो कि वहां पे फ्राइडे इवनिंग का अगर डिलीवरेबल का डेडलाइन है, तो फ्राइडे इवनिंग 6 बजे वो नहीं जाएगा, वो 8-9-10 बजे तक जाएगा. बट देन आई हैड माय टिकट्स एंड आई लेफ्ट. एंड ट्रस्ट मी, मेरे अप्रेजल में ये बात साफ साफ लिख कर आई थी. So you need to understand that culture and be with it. ये मेरे अप्रेजल में लिखा हुआ आया था, right? So don't try to, वो होता है ना कि फ्लो के साथ बहो, उल्टी धारा में मत जाना. So imbibe yourself, sync with the kind of culture. You would get to know in the initial couple of weeks and months.
Okay, I think we can move to the next question asked by Achal. Ma'am,
Hmm.
how do I
Ankit, you're on mute. Ankit,
Uh,
you're on.
Ankit, I
Possible.
think you are on a you have increased yourself. So, Aprajita, the question is like from Anshul, how do I create an effective resume tailored to corporate jobs?
Okay. So, Achal, this is what we were talking a while ago. Uh, Customize your resume. Always have 2 to 3 version of resumes that you're doing, because your resume and the job description, JD and CV, should be like question and answer. It needs to match. It needs to be tailor made. It cannot be that one size fits all. Tailor made it with what kind of job. Say for example, I would say, अगर आप इतना एफर्ट नहीं लगा सकते हो कि एक कस्टमाइज रिज्यूमे बनाओ, मैं क्यों इतना एफर्ट लगाऊं कि आपको समझूं? मेरे पास तो इतने कैंडिडेट्स हैं, right? So start working on it. I'll give you a quick fix solution. पहले तो आप बनाओ जो आपका कस्टमाइज है, आप अपने प्लेसमेंट सेल से उसको टेलर मेड कराओ और सर्विसेज लो, वो सारी चीजें आजकल एक क्विक सोल्यूशन है. यूज ओपन सोर्स और चैट जीपीटी, customize and take reviews from it. It also helps many a times. आप उसका JD डालो और अपना CV डालो और accordingly tweak कर लो. That's also a smart fixation. But don't follow it blindly. Make sure it resonates and is truthful to what you have done. कुछ भी फेक करोगे या प्रोजेक्ट करोगे हवा में, तुरंत पकड़ा जाएगा. So don't go overboard of it, but have 2 3 versions of your resume. Customize it, tailor made it with the help of your placement cell and seniors, and keep tweaking it as per the kind of roles or the jobs that you're applying for.
Okay, I see. I think next is the same question that's been asked. I think, okay, Karishma has also asked a question. How do I accept in terms of corporate expectation different from the academy expectations? Okay.
How do I expect in terms of corporate experience different from academic? Oh, a lot. In your academic expectation, a lot of focus is on completion of your assignments, seminars, projects, your grades and things like that. Corporate may, I would say, a lot of emphasis is also given on your soft skills. Soft skills, when I say how well you communicate, how well you articulate, how well presentable you are, how good a team player you are, how flexible you are. A lot of these things also play a lot of importance when you move to the corporates. Because ये मुझे पता है कि hard skills तो आप academic से सीख कर ही आ रहे हो. You are anyhow good at it. Your grades talk about it. So that's where we try to hone you with your softer skills.
Okay, I think Atulya is asking question, ma'am, can you please help me with the online fees resources which can be very helpful for resume and LinkedIn profile and other things which are important part of placement process and the corporate life?
Atulya, I will defer this question to your placement cell. They would be much more helpful to customize. मैं आजकल resume नहीं बनाती हूँ, so I may not be very well aware of those tools. But I would say that when look into some of those LinkedIn profile uh, to those people whom you aspire to be. Look into their profiles, how they have presented themselves. So that's where you can take a cue from. Also, maybe you can reach out to the HR department and others who could give you some sample resume as well. So that could be helpful. Rest, I think your placement cell can help you with.
Just I think we might be taking a last question and it would be asked from, I just want to ask from my side. I think it
Sure.
is related to the Karishma question only. I'm just adding to that. Could you please suggest me some books that is really helpful for the college students or the MBA students who are just, in the colleges and they want to get some good insights of the corporates, like some books that you may suggest that are really helpful for them?
Mm. Books. Mm, I think there are a lot of books which you can talk about, I would say, एक हमने पढ़ा था, what was it called? Fast reading नहीं, बहुत छोटी छोटी उसकी स्क्रिप्ट थी. वेट, स्लो एंड फास्ट रीडिंग नहीं, क्या नाम था? जस्ट लेट मी जस्ट गिव यू दैट नेम. Slow reading book. It was a very nice book. I have that book in my shelf, but see, I'm missing that name. How to read fast and slow. Read. How to read better and faster, kind of a book. I'm missing that name. Anyways, then things that I personally like a lot is HBR books, Harvard Business Review books. They would help you. There are different topics on that book that can help you fine tune yourself. These could be anything, the kind of segment or industry you are choosing, right? Usme HBR ke books lao. Then there would be books which would help you in your effective communication. There would be books understanding. There are a lot. HBR karke Harvard Business Review ke books karke lao. There would be a lot of them which could be very good. There's a blue ocean strategy. There's 7 habits of efficient people. There are atomic habits. Or there's books on startups. So a lot of things are there. In my personal opinion, I love to read those HBR books.
Okay, ma'am. I think I got my answer. I got the answers. I think one last question of the day, guys. I think we are running out of time. So, okay, one last question by Atulya again. That is it a good idea to visit some of the company offices to know more about their culture and the working environments and other things?
Awesome idea, but you may not enter or get access to many of these offices until and unless somebody from the office allows you or escorts you, or you are a guest or a visitor by them. But if you have access, friends, family, relatives who can help you get to the entry to these offices, why not? Go there, see the culture, get inspired, interact with folks. That's a brilliant idea. But it's not easy to get in because of a lot of those rules, access control, and things like that. But if you can, feel free to do that.
So I think we are done with our question answer session. I think you guys were really amazing. Thank you, ma'am. Okay, yes, okay. So I think now we are about to wind up the session, and the thing is that, okay, before winding up the session, I am just sharing you a ping a link in the chat box only. It is we also have a channel on our YouTube. It is on the same name like Whitewood Education and Research Foundation. You can go through our channel, subscribe it, share to your friends, where we keep uploading these type of seminar, session, and workshop for you guys only. Please share, please subscribe, and even those students who might have missed the session today, it will be uploaded very soon on the link only. You can go and subscribe our channel. So I think, ma'am, we are winding up for today. And first of all, I would like to thank you on the behalf of Deltron Technologies and Whitewood Education Research Foundation that you just bring your valuable insight and time for us on the board. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you for inviting me. And for all the students out there, I have shared my LinkedIn link. Feel free to read my profile, my journey. Feel free to connect or write to me. And wishing you all the very best. Do well in your life and career. Make yourself, your family, friends proud of what you make of your career. All the very best.
So guys, we are winding up. Thank you so much again. And we will be back very soon on the channel on board with you for another exciting sessions and seminar with you guys. Thank you so much.